My name is Beverly. Today is October 23rd, 2018. I had a dream that I really wanted to share. It's been, 4 days now. This was on October 19th, 2018. So I wrote this dream down at 1:51 in the morning. It says, I was in the house and very scared. I was in this house that I'm in right now, and I was very scared. I no longer felt safe. It felt like there was danger from the outside. I noted how I had known before, how all kinds of death and horrors were coming, and I was not afraid. But this was very bad fear because your most intimate space was feeling unsafe. That's why the word for this dream was insecure. I wanted to hide there in the house, but no place felt safe. I think this had something to do with Trump. I remember in the dream, I wish I could take you over to the spot and show you the spot because I remember it so vividly. It's at the bottom of the steps, just to the right of the steps as you face them and right in front of the front door. I was just crouched down, just like huddled with my back up against the wall looking at the front door. And like I said, I wanted to hide, but it didn't seem like it would be any use to hide anywhere in that house because no place felt safe. It just felt like invasion. It felt like something was going to come pouring through the doors and the windows. It just was unsafe. It just was insecure. So, and then when I woke up, when I was writing that down, I felt that this had something to do with Donald Trump. So I don't know what nonsense they're going to have him do next because he is absolutely a puppet. And I wish people believed me about that. I really do. But there isn't one video that I make about Trump since he's been elected that people don't come on and comment and say, you're wrong about Trump. It's less now than it was before, with people coming on here defending him and saying, be careful, don't judge people, and people insisting that he's a Christian. I don't get as much of that now because I know that people are starting to see that nothing changed when Donald Trump was sworn in to office as president. Nothing at all changed. The agenda is closer to coming to fulfillment of world government, of chaos, of financial disaster as we ever were. They know very well that the U.S. government is financially insolvent. And the United States has already been carved up. And we've already been doled out as servants. There was one dream I had about factories, about factory smokestacks fired up with like glowing yellow and orange flames coming out of them, intensifying. And I don't know for exact sure what that meant, but I think it meant that they'll bring industry back here because we're going to be a low wage place in the world. So the reason why jobs left the United States in the first place was because of wages. They could go to other areas, the multinational corporations that run our government and the governments all over the world. The standard of living here was high, and therefore wages were high compared to the value of the dollar. But now wages have been so stagnant and not at all keeping up with the rate of inflation or with the increases in the standard of living, which that makes it a measure of inflation, an indicator that inflation is high. When your wages stay the same and goods cost more, your dollars buy less, which means that even though there may be and there is a larger total number of dollars in circulation, all that serves to do, because we're not making any more money, what that serves to do is to dilute the buying power of your dollar. So they're saying, the economy is great. The economy is great. But look around. Who is it great for? Do you know these people? Because I don't know them. I don't know them. People are not prosperous. And think about this. When the dollar crashes, when the dollar is booted out as the world reserve currency, what do you have? What will you have? If your money that you use as currency is compared to another currency that is deemed to be worth more than your currency, it will take more of your dollars to buy the same thing. So if your mortgage is sold to a foreign bank, which can happen, mortgages are commodities. It's an asset. The bank that holds your note counts your mortgage in their books as an asset because it's a money-making product. They're making money off the interest that they're paying you, that you're paying them. So if they sell your mortgage to another entity, and that other entity deals in a currency other than dollars, and your dollar that you spend has been devalued, and now it takes $2 to equal a yen or whatever the new world currency will be, then you and your wages are low and everything about the dollar is devalued, your dollar will not be able to keep up with the changes that are happening on the world stage. It would be like if suddenly you were paying your mortgage, you had to start paying your mortgage in pesos. And it took so many more pesos to pay your mortgage. And what could you do about it? There's nothing you could do about it. The United States has enjoyed the advantage that they enjoyed with a strong dollar because it was compared to other currencies that were deemed to be worth less. So when you spent dollars, you had an advantage. So if there's some other currency that becomes the world currency, you lose that advantage of being able to spend dollars. Spending dollars won't be an advantage anymore. That is looming over us, and they know it. But they think that they have secured themselves financially. They are buffered. They're insulated against a collapse. They may have switched their investments to whatever the new world currency is going to be, which they would know. Or they may not be liquid, meaning they don't have we consider money wealth. If it's sitting in your 401k, it's not wealth because it's subject to market forces that could collapse the value of what you have your money in, such as a house that's in a bubble that's overpriced. And you consider that your wealth is in your house because your house is worth $200,000 more than what you owe, $100,000 more than what you owe, $50,000 more than what you owe, so that if you sold it today, you could walk away with cash. That's called being liquid. Your money is in currency. But when the currency is not real, that is a fiat currency, a note printed by the Federal Reserve, which they can print an unlimited amount of them. So there is no real value attached to them. So when your wealth is in something that is quote unquote liquid and the value of it can go up and down in a way that you are not able to control, as soon as they say that dollar that you are liquid in is devalued, now all of a sudden you have no money. So what the rich do, they have their money in real things that are valuable. Money, paper notes are not real. There's no real value in them. But if you have land, if you have property, if you have gold, if you have manufacturing capacity, if you have natural resources, you have a forest that you can chop down the trees and sell, you have, oil reserves, natural gas, those things they actually have a value to them. So this is how they shelter themselves from the ups and downs of the market because they don't rely on money. They know money's not anything. But their money, there is nothing they can do to shelter themselves from God. Your gold and your silver, it won't save you. God, their God is their money. And they think that's what's going to save them. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. But for the next 42 months, it's going to work for them. They're going to be set up as kings for 1 hour with the beast. 42 months. I'm going to read a couple scriptures. And then I gotta go. Okay. I wish people didn't trust in President Trump. I wish people believed me that he's just who the Lord told me he is. He's a deception. He's a false light. His God is money. He won't save you. He's part of this process. He's part of this system, and he's going to leave office in shame. He's going to be hated and homeless. Whatever role he played in all of this, I take it from all of that it's going to backfire on him. He's going to wish he had never participated in this process. He's going to wish he had never been a Judas to the American people. So I'm going to read Psalm 91 because the name of that dream was Insecure. And I don't want to make you afraid. Because up until that dream, I've had moments where I had to readjust to the things that had entered into my mind, to the knowledge that I had, where things went from in the Bible, prophecy, out in the future to, oh my gosh, here we are, this is happening. And to see my dreams become headlines. And that's when they went from dreams to nightmares. When I see them unfolding, that's when they become a nightmare. When they're just happening, they're sweet as honey in my mouth because it's the word of the Lord. But once they hit my belly, like John the Revelator said, let me read that. If you stop by to hear about the Trump dream, that's the end of it. Let's read Revelation chapter. The Word of God is so beautiful, so beautiful. I really recommend that you open your Bible. Put aside whatever you do for entertainment. Sacrifice some time and read your Bible. Read. It is literally spending time with God. Okay. Let's see. Take the little book. Sorry. I just thought of this one. Okay. Revelation chapter 10. This is how it was to me when I was dreaming these things. When I'm dreaming about Obama being the Antichrist, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. God is showing me things. I just love that he's in contact with me and that I spend this time with him. But when those things started hitting TV screens and they just really started coming to pass, then it's like in the pit of your stomach. So like I said, they go from dreams. They're not, you would think it'd be a nightmare when you're having it, but it's not because it's God. But then when it's actually coming to pass, like, oh no. So I did pass through a period of time that was fearful, where I had not been fearful when I was dreaming these things. But there have been times when after that, when I'm like, oh, wow, no. I really, as it got real, that I did not want to have to go through those things. And I had to make a readjustment to not being afraid. And then I got there. It's kind of like, when if you're climbing the summit of a mountain and they climb in stages up to a higher altitude, because if you go too fast, you get sick. So you have to climb to a certain height and then readjust to the altitude at that spot. And then you can move higher. And then you readjust there and then you move higher. So that's how kind of like the scariness of these things sets in. And then you get used to that. Okay, that's going to happen. Fine. Whatever, we're going to die. Great. Then it's, oh, we're going to be living in the woods. Yeah, not my favorite, but okay. This adjusting to these different things. So having this dream where I'm like crouched on the ground, just knowing that I have no safety, no feeling of safety whatsoever. That was a new level of fear that I had not felt before. I had dreams of, being shot, being killed, being this, being that, but nothing ever felt as scary as that. Even the dreams I had about being chased by Obama, expecting him to return and all that stuff, those were not even as scary as this, as what this is that Trump is doing, what he's opening us up to. He's opening us up to something very bad. So, Revelation chapter 10, verse 10, it says, oh, wow. I'll just read the whole chapter because it's only 10 verses long, 11 verses long. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book opened, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot upon the earth, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. He announced no more time. He announced the end of time. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets, the end of the world, the last day, no more time. That's the fundamental thing that I struggle with. People who don't believe what I'm saying. It says, as he hath spoken by his servants the prophets, as he hath declared by his servants, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, the 7th trumpet, when that blows, it's too late. When that blows, it's the end. When that blows, Jesus is in the sky, and whoever you are, ready or not, that's it. There's no left behind. There's nothing. When he comes, he said, I come quickly and my reward is with me. That's it. The mystery of God should be finished. There'll be no more mystery to who God is. There'll be no more seeking after him. You'll either have him or you don't. As he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. The angel that is standing upon the sea and upon the earth. This angel is so massive that one of his feet is on the land and one is stretched out into the sea. And he's swearing to heaven that time is up, that's it. And he's saying when the seventh angel sounds, that's it. He said, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, he said, go take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and I said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and I ate it up, and it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten, my belly was bitter. That's how it is to receive the word of the Lord. When you're reading it, you're in contact with God. He is his word, his presence, all of that, his truth. But some of these things that are coming to pass are bitter. Jesus said, Lord, if it's possible, take this cup away from me. But probably when he was on his way to the earth, Lord, I'm going to do your will. I'm going to save your creation that you love. All who will come to me, I will save them. I will go down and die for them. But when it came time to do it down there on his knees, that cup was bitter. And we're all saying, like Peter, Lord, though I die with you, I will not deny you. But now we have to pay up. Now we have to follow those words with actual endurance, to endure these things, to drink this cup. This cup, Jesus said, this cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it? My Father, our God, gave us something to endure. He asked a thing of us, and we're going to go through it. So it's just like climbing the mountain. Each place seems like, oh, I'll never make it. But once you get to that place and you learn endurance in that place, and that endurance builds patience in you, and the patience, confidence, and hope, then you'll know that time after time, I'll make it. You know that every time this happens, every time I get to a new place, it feels scary at first, but then it's going to be okay. So we can know that ahead of time. This is the patience that we have, the knowledge that we have. We know these things. Something seems very scary. You tell it to little kids, it seems like you're not going to make it, but you're going to make it. It's just scary right there in that moment. But trust me, you just tell the kid like they're trying to learn how to ride their bike. Trust me, this is going to seem like nothing to you after a while. It's okay. This is where we are. So he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues. That's why John ate the little book, and it was sweet in his mouth, but bitter in his belly. And that's how it is. So then I want to read Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, this is the answer to insecurity. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. We have faith and patience. This is Psalm chapter 20. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary, and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thine offerings, and accept thy burnt sacrifice. Grant thee according to thine own heart, and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in thy salvation. In the name of our God, we will set up our banners. The Lord fulfill all thy petitions. Now know I that the Lord saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven, and the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots, and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord. Let the King hear us when we call. Two more things I want to read. All right. Okay. Verse 13, Joel chapter 3. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fat overflow. For their wickedness is great. It's time. It's time. The harvest is ripe. The press is full, the fat overflow. Their wickedness is great. Remember when the children of Israel, who were what God was promising Abraham, he was going to give him that land that he sojourned in. But he said, the reason why it wasn't right at that time. It was because the wickedness of the people of the land was not yet reached the full. When the wickedness of the land reaches the full, the land itself rejects you. The earth itself is going to reject man. So the wickedness is great. You know, the grapes are full of juice. It's time to squash them. The harvest is ripe. Then it says, verse 14, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Everybody has to decide. Are you going to choose the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and endure his suffering and his persecution that he suffered on this earth? Are you going to endure the persecution? Or are you going to choose the prince of this world, the darkness? Are you going to take the easy road out? Are you going to save your life, or are you going to save your soul? That's the decision. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. Who will you choose? For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. We know what the day of the Lord is. This is what always happens when we hear about the day of the Lord. Verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice in Jerusalem. That's probably going to be the shout. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no stranger pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with water. And the fountain shall come forth out of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation. Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For the Lord will dwell in Zion. That won't happen until after Jesus comes back. Chapter 2 of Joel. It says, verse 27, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. It shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heaven and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And the sun shall be turned into darkness. Now, so what are we talking about? The day of the Lord. And the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. It says, Psalms chapter 20, verse 7. Some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Why? Because he said whoever calls upon him will be saved. In that time, they are brought down and fallen, but we are risen. That's what's going to happen at the end of time. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord. Save, Lord. Let the King hear us when we call. And what did he say? Whoever calls on him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever calls shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. So what is there to be fearful of? Let's read Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 through 13, and then I'm done. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie, which say they are Christians, and are not, but do lie. You can put that in there. They say they're God's people, but they're not. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Remember, there are multitudes in the valley of decision. Our decision is made. We are standing with the Lord, even now, and even to the end. Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast that which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And I will write upon him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. In that dream, I was very afraid. But do we have any reason to be afraid? Isn't it natural that we would consider and not want these things? But we can drink the cup that our Father has given to us. If men know how to give good gifts to their children, don't we trust the Lord? That these things will shake out to our good. And that through our suffering and through our persecution, more men will be snatched from sliding down into the pits of hell when they see how you suffer, when they see how you go through, when they see how you're willing to die for this thing you say you believe. There's a purpose to all of our suffering, just like there was a purpose to the suffering of Christ. So let's eagerly go to what the Lord has called us to do. He sent Jesus out of love for the world. He said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And his love for the world is why we are going to go through what we are going to go through. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. God bless you.